Malaysia and Singapore are two nations in Southeast Asia with deeply intertwined histories. They were once part of the same country. Today, they are distinct economic stories. Singapore is a small island city-state, and it has become a global powerhouse in finance and technology. Its economy is highly developed and sophisticated. Malaysia, its larger neighbor, is rich in natural resources. It has a strong manufacturing base and a growing services sector. For decades, a friendly rivalry has existed between them, often measured in economic terms, and many wonder if Malaysia can one day catch up to its smaller, wealthier neighbor. This question is not just about numbers. It is about different development models. Let's look at the current situation, as of our perspective today in mid-2025. Singapore's nominal gross domestic product, or GDP, is estimated to be around $500 billion. This is a remarkable figure for a nation with a population of under 6 million people. It really reflects a high-value, knowledge-intensive economy. Malaysia, with a much larger population of over 34 million, has a nominal GDP of approximately $450 billion. On the surface, Singapore is still ahead. However, the story changes when we look at growth. Malaysia's economy has often shown a faster rate of expansion, sometimes growing at 5% or more, while Singapore's mature economy typically grows at a slower pace of around 2 to 3%. Singapore's economic strength is built on very specific pillars. It has almost no natural resources. Instead, it built its wealth on human capital, strategic location, and good governance. The Port of Singapore is one of the busiest in the world, making it a critical hub for global trade. Its financial sector is a magnet for international capital, and its stable political environment attracts multinational corporations to set up their regional headquarters there. The government has consistently invested in education, technology, and infrastructure, creating a highly efficient and competitive environment that is difficult to replicate. This focus on high-value services has given it a significant economic lead. Malaysia's economy, in contrast, is more diversified but less developed in certain areas. It has long been a major exporter of commodities like palm oil, rubber, and natural gas. This has provided a solid foundation for its growth. In recent decades, the country has successfully moved into manufacturing, particularly in electronics and electrical products. This has created many jobs and driven industrialization across the nation. Now Malaysia is trying to move further up the value chain, shifting from basic assembly to more complex manufacturing and services, a necessary step if it hopes to close the economic gap with its neighbor to the south. When we compare economies, nominal GDP is not the only measure. We must also consider purchasing power parity, or PPP. This metric adjusts for the cost of living in different countries. It tells us how much people can actually buy with their money. In this regard, Malaysia has already achieved a significant milestone. Its GDP in PPP terms is estimated to be over $1.3 trillion. This is considerably larger than Singapore's PPP GDP, which stands at around $800 billion. This means that despite having a lower nominal GDP, the overall economic output of Malaysia, when adjusted for local prices, is actually greater. This PPP advantage is largely due to Malaysia's larger population and lower cost of living. Basic goods, services, and housing are generally more affordable in Kuala Lumpur than they are in Singapore. Therefore, the same amount of money can buy more in Malaysia. This is an important indicator of the real economic weight of a country. A larger domestic market and production capacity give Malaysia a strong base. However, the ultimate goal for many policymakers is to close the gap in nominal GDP, as this figure is often used as the primary measure of a country's economic standing on the global stage. It reflects international purchasing power and financial might. So what must Malaysia do to catch up in nominal terms? The path is clear, but it is not easy. The country needs to attract much more high-quality foreign and domestic investment. This investment should not just be in traditional manufacturing, but in future-oriented sectors like digital technology, renewable energy, and advanced biotechnology. It requires creating an environment where businesses, both local and international, feel confident to invest for the long term. This means ensuring policy stability, providing clear regulations, and offering attractive incentives for companies that bring innovation and high-skilled jobs to the country. Furthermore, Malaysia cannot rely on its old economic model forever. It must accelerate its shift from a labor-intensive economy to one driven by innovation and productivity. This involves fostering a culture of research and development, or R&D, within its industries. Companies must be encouraged to create their own technologies, not just assemble components designed elsewhere. This transition requires a highly skilled workforce, capable of competing with the best in the world. This is where education and training become critically important. The government and private sector must work together to build a talent pool that can support a high-income, knowledge-based economy. Despite its potential, Malaysia faces several significant challenges that could slow its progress. One of the most pressing issues is the quality of its education system. While access to education has improved, there are concerns about whether its schools and universities are producing graduates with the critical thinking and technical skills needed for the modern economy. Many reports suggest a mismatch between the skills taught in schools and the skills demanded by industries. Reforming the education curriculum to focus more on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, as well as soft skills, is essential for building the human capital required for future growth. Another major hurdle is governance and institutional quality. The fight against corruption remains a critical battle for Malaysia. Corruption drains public funds, deters foreign investment, and undermines public trust in institutions. While successive governments have made efforts to improve transparency and accountability, more needs to be done. Strengthening institutions, ensuring the rule of law is applied fairly, and reducing bureaucratic red tape are fundamental steps to creating a more competitive and attractive business environment. Without good governance, even the best economic plans can fail to deliver their intended results, making this a cornerstone of any successful strategy. Infrastructure development is also a key area that requires continuous attention. Although Malaysia has good infrastructure in many parts of the country, there are still gaps, particularly in rural areas and in states like Sabah and Sarawak. Upgrading digital infrastructure, such as high-speed internet access for all, is crucial for participating in the global digital economy. Likewise, improving public transport and logistics networks can reduce the cost of doing business and enhance overall productivity. These investments are expensive, but they are necessary to support a modern and efficient economy that can compete with the likes of Singapore. Finally, political stability is a prerequisite for long-term economic planning and investment. In recent years, Malaysia has experienced a period of political uncertainty. Frequent changes in government can lead to shifts in policy, which can make it difficult for businesses to plan for the future. For Malaysia to achieve its long-term economic goals, it needs a stable political landscape where there is a broad consensus on the key economic reforms required. This stability would provide the confidence for both local and foreign investors to commit capital to the country, knowing that the rules of the game will not suddenly change. The pursuit of overtaking Singapore's nominal GDP is an ambitious goal, and it is certainly possible in the long run if Malaysia can maintain high growth and implement deep reforms. However, it is crucial to remember that GDP is just one measure of a country's success. A larger economy does not automatically mean a better life for all citizens. The real question is not just about the size of the economic pie, but how that pie is distributed among the population. Focusing solely on GDP numbers can sometimes obscure other important issues like income inequality, environmental sustainability, and overall well-being. What truly matters for a country's future is the quality of growth. Is the economic growth inclusive? Is it creating good jobs with fair wages for everyone? Or is it only benefiting a small elite? Is the development environmentally sustainable? Or is it coming at the cost of destroying natural resources for future generations? These are the questions that leaders and citizens in Malaysia should be asking. Building a strong middle class, reducing poverty, and ensuring that everyone has access to quality healthcare and education are arguably more important goals than simply having a larger GDP than a neighbor. Ultimately, the focus should be on building a resilient, equitable, and sustainable society. This means investing in people, protecting the environment, and strengthening social cohesion. A country where citizens feel safe, healthy, and have opportunities to reach their full potential is a truly successful nation, regardless of its ranking in global GDP tables. This kind of holistic development creates a virtuous cycle, where a happy and healthy population becomes more productive, driving sustainable economic growth in the long term. This is a lesson that all developing nations can learn from. In conclusion, while the economic race between Malaysia and Singapore is a fascinating story to watch, the finish line should be defined in broader terms. Overtaking Singapore's nominal GDP is a plausible, though challenging, long-term objective for Malaysia. It will require sustained effort, bold reforms, and a relentless focus on innovation and education. However, the ultimate prize is not just a bigger economy. It is the creation of a prosperous, fair, and stable nation where every citizen has the chance to thrive. That is the true measure of success, and it is a goal worthy of a nation's greatest efforts.